Coming up on 5 Minute News. Biden stands with Asia on freedom for Taiwan. United States issues its first ex-gendered passport. And threat to block British fishing boats from French ports. It's Thursday, October 28. I'm Anthony Davis. President Joe Biden told Southeast Asian nations on Wednesday the United States would stand with them in defending freedom of the seas and democracy, and called China's actions towards Taiwan coercive and a threat to peace and stability. Speaking at a virtual East Asia summit attended by the Chinese premier, Biden said Washington would start talks with partners in the Indo-Pacific about developing a regional economic framework, something critics say his regional strategy had lacked. Southeast Asia has become a strategic battleground between the United States and China, which controls most of the South China Sea, and Beijing has turned up military and political pressure on fiercely democratic Taiwan, a self-ruled island Beijing considers its own. Biden reiterated that the United States had a rock-solid commitment to Taiwan. "We are deeply concerned by China's coercive actions," Biden said, charging that they threaten regional peace and stability. Biden last week said the United States, which is obliged by a 1979 law to provide Taiwan with the means to defend itself, would come to Taiwan's defense if it were attacked by China. Those comments caused a stir because they appeared to depart from a long-held U.S. policy of strategic ambiguity as to how Washington would respond to such a scenario. The United States has issued its first passport with an ex-gender designation, marking a milestone in the recognition of the rights of people who do not identify as male or female, and expects to be able to offer the option more broadly next year, the State Department said yesterday. Dana Zim, an intersex activist from Fort Collins, Colorado, who prefers a gender-neutral pronoun, received his passport by courier yesterday. He's been in a legal battle with the State Department to obtain a passport that did not require him to lie about gender by picking either male or female. While 63-year-old Zim said it was thrilling to finally get the passport, the goal was to help the next generation of intersex people win recognition as full citizens with rights, rather than travel the globe, Zim said. Zim served in the Navy as a male, but later came to identify as intersex while working and studying at Colorado State University. The State Department's denial of Zim's passport prevented Zim from being able to go to two Organization Intersex international meetings. Advocates who praised the work of Zim said the United States' decision to join over a dozen countries that allow a third gender option would allow people to travel as their authentic selves and possibly keep them safer doing it. The U.S. Special Diplomatic Envoy for LGBTQ rights, Jessica Stern, said the decision brings the government documents in line with the lived reality that there is a wider spectrum of human sex characteristics than is reflected in the previous two designations. France announced on Wednesday that it will bar British fishing boats from some French ports starting next week if no deal is reached with the UK in a dispute over fishing licenses, and suggested it may restrict energy supplies to the Channel Islands as well. Since the UK left the economic orbit of the European Union at the start of the year, relations between London and Paris have become increasingly frayed. France vehemently protested the decision last month by the UK and the Channel Island of Jersey to refuse dozens of French fishing boats a license to operate in their territorial waters. France considers the restrictions as contrary to the post-Brexit agreement that the British government signed when it left the EU. After weeks of negotiations, British authorities have issued more fishing licenses, but they still only account for 50% of what France believes it is entitled to. The French ministers for Europe and for Maritime Affairs said in a joint statement that if no agreement is reached by November 2nd, France will bar British boats from designated ports and tighten customs, security and other controls on any British boats and trucks travelling between France and Britain. The French government also asked the EU for Europe-wide efforts to force Britain to honour its alleged commitments under the Brexit deal. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.